not the outcome that the Blue Raiders wanted today. Penalties, turnovers, critical mistakes, in situations, not very good defensively on third down, getting these guys off the field. And those things are the things that sort of take you back a little bit. I just told our guys, I wasn't surprised that we could run the football. I wasn't surprised. We had a good offensive game plan. We had a good week going in. I thought even at times we tackled better defensively. Today was about busts. It wasn't so much about tackles inside out. I mean, there were some leaks, but really for us, I mean, it was more miscommunication and more bust than anything else. Guys running free because we just don't communicate. And when you get to the back end of the season, these are the things that we commonly work on in practice. But again and again, as a fairly young defensive unit, the reality. And when I say young, I'm just talking about playing. The reality of it is, communication is not a one-man job, and when you don't communicate, generally bad things happen. So today, I saw just enough bad things that happened, and we couldn't. We did great things, but enough bad things happened to us where we couldn't shrink the margins. And fortunately, in this game, just sort of withered away and just started to leak away from us as we got into the fourth quarter.
Coach, you mentioned the two turnovers, 14 points off those turnovers for the Aggies. How much more difficult does that make it for the offense on a day where you were running the ball well, or you have to sort of change your game plan up a little bit because you're playing from behind most of the game?
Yeah. We got to take care of the ball, right? I mean, that's what you talk about. I mean, you talk about taking care of the ball. On the first one, I don't know if you slipped or whatever. The ball was high, tips and overthrows, man. Those things never lead to anything good. Defensively, man, you want to make sure. I mean, that's a pick six, so that looks a little different. On the flip side of it, like for us, it looks like the receiver stopped running the route, and all of a sudden, man, miscommunication between him and the quarterback, and there's an interception. I mean, you can't turn the ball over, but I'll say this. We missed our opportunities to get the balls, too. There were balls on the ground, man, and we didn't get to them. And you have to populate to the football in order to get the football, right? So a couple bounce back to them. Unfortunately for us, they landed on their side, and we gave up points. So that's something as we go back, we take a look at the film. I'm sure guys are going to want those plays back because the reality of it is, this was a game, man, that was winnable. I thought we came in with good game plans. Just the execution and communication was just made it rough.
Two maybe unexpected quarterbacks for New Mexico State today compared to maybe what people were thinking, ahead of the week.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see out of, what they were doing and their ability to pass the ball this week in particular?
It wasn't more or less what they did. It's more or less what we did. Defensively, I thought at times, and this isn't blame, but these are situations where we have to understand. Okay, where's our leverage help? Okay, we saw these same looks in practice. We understood that if we got them behind the chains, or if they were having trouble running the ball, which they did, okay, like that they were going to have to put it up. And you sort of want a team like this to play left-handed. But they're playing left-handed and hitting shots right and left, okay, man, on busted, wide-open plays that really should never have happened. So everybody's got to take some accountability in this. It starts with the coaches, man, myself. I take full accountability. But I saw these things. We saw these things. We talked about these things, and we practiced these things. So that's the disheartening piece of how this thing goes down on a senior day.
Coach, that a 10-point momentum swing there on the drive where you didn't get the 4th and 1 looked like 4/5 of his body was across that line. So I don't know where the ball was.
Yeah.
It was glued to his foot or whatever. But that spot didn't go your way after obviously a challenge. They have a long pass where it looks like he might have been out of bounds on their drive, and they get 3 points. Can you just discuss that 10-point momentum swing?
Yeah, that 10-point momentum swing. And look, we invest a lot of money in cameras. They said that they had no camera view, okay, of it. It gets old. It just gets old, man. We have all this technology, and we look, do we need to buy 2 more cameras? I don't. Camera personnel, people. I mean, it's a fourth down spot. Okay, he got pushed over the top. Half the body was over. I don't know what they saw. The line judge said that he couldn't see it. Okay, so we got two line judges that can't see it, and then we can't get it right. Okay, I mean, on film. It's just I really have a hard time with understanding the mechanics of what we do in these situations because they've been close, and both times, man, and they've gone against us in situations where I thought clearly we had first downs. So, to Conference USA, make sure we get it fixed. If we got to get two more cameras, get two more cameras. Because to tell me at the end of the day that like we don't have a right camera angle, I'm not buying that. We got to get that right.
I thought your ends, Bynum and Buck, had a great game today, creating pressure, making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Talk about them and the pressure that they had today.
That's they get a chance to do what every little kid in America playing football wants to do. Come off the edge, sometimes unblocked, okay, man, and go right to the football and get a chance to tackle it. And listen, you tell them, don't miss the layup, right? I mean, they work hard at understanding their keys, ball to, ball away, like what does it look like? And at times they can make some things look pretty easy, but the reality of it is, it's hard work when you got a quarterback that can run because sometimes, you got to surf one and be able to close out on the other. And so like the key, the eye progression, those two have gotten better as the season's gone on. So kudos. I mean, and they saw a lot of chips today, okay, in protection. So, like for those guys, again, just kudos for the way they played because I thought they played hard.
Coach, you talked about the offensive game plan a little bit earlier for today.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came out with a little bit more of an under-center look at times today. Was that something you guys saw on tape, or was that just something that you wanted to implement this season?
That's something that we want to be, like the reality. Like give our line some personality, right? Like the personality to be able to come off the ball. I mean, it starts there. It's, over the last week and a half, with the bye, like we had 3 practices and they were physical practices. We lined up in 2-back, ball came downhill, and we wanted to change like the temperament of what happens up front because football is still a line of scrimmage game. And if you can, sort of flip that switch a little bit and get people, and we saw some good things even versus, our defense. And I thought anytime you can get your offensive line to play that way, it makes our defensive line better because now, man, the mentality is iron sharpening iron. It's physical. And I thought some of that showed up today.
Overall, your defense played a good game outside of 7 to 8, maybe miscommunications on especially play action opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
What were you seeing on those play action opportunities that led to the miscommunications?
Eye candy, right? The idea is eye candy. So, a lot of motion. I mean, they orbited motion almost all day. The reality is there's sometimes when you push the coverage, there's sometimes when you lock it. Okay? I mean, but you have to pre-communicate. Those things had tells all day long, right? And so you come off and you ask guys and they just said, we just didn't communicate. That's where we're at. That becomes somewhat unacceptable. Okay, and so that's why you saw a couple of guys switched out there, man, because we had to have some conversations about what are you saying. For us, okay, big plays are given up generally when you have bad communication, okay, on defense, okay, or guys just refuse to communicate or have bad alignments. And today, man, we saw that come out. You said 7 times, but 7 times can give away 21, 28 points. So the reality of it is that's 7 too many.
Keaton Solomon, WZYX Radio in Cowan. Coach, talk about the seniors this year, obviously. Want to put that on our air and talk about the impact they've had this season.
Man, these seniors, they've had to go through a lot. New coach, right, who's in their tail almost every day. It's hard gravitating towards the new, but I think these guys have worked hard to try to, lay some foundational pieces, man, that I think will lead this football team forward. I want to thank them. I want to thank them for, like the young men that they've been, how hard they worked, the outcomes. People judge what we do by outcomes, and I get that. Okay, but when you're growing, when seniors are having to grow with young guys and grow themselves because it's their first time through it, You know, it's a journey, man. Sometimes that has peaks and valleys, and what you try to get them to do is try to enjoy the journey. So, with that being said, we got one more game. These guys got one more chance to enjoy this journey.
Thank you.
You got it. I appreciate you. Go Blue.
Anthony, I think 3.5 tackles for loss for y'all. It seems like you and Buck were able to set the edge really well today. What do you think led to the defensive line success getting in the backfield on a lot of those running plays?
Shoot, it really started with practice. Shoot, if you make the plays in practice, you're going to make it in the game.
2 quarterbacks from Mexico State that maybe weren't top of the line on the scouting report. You know, did that throw you off as a defense at all, seeing those 2 different guys in there?
No, it ain't really throw off, but shoot, yeah.
Just, Coach talked a lot about the busted plays that happened. Y'all were pretty consistent outside of maybe, a handful of times and the lack of communication that led to them. What were you seeing on the field that you think led to those plays?
Shoot, I ain't really seen nothing because I'm pass rushing, but, we just got to watch more film and, it can't happen. We got to limit those plays.
One more game, obviously, with the way the season's gone, a lot of people are looking towards the future. What are you hoping this team gets out of this one final road trip, heading into next year?
I hope we get a win. We need to get a win to set the momentum for next year.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Jaquel, we heard a lot, this week about how y'all are going to go under center more and set up the run game well, and it appears it worked pretty well from your perspective. How excited were you to see that game plan implemented and to see some success early with that game plan?
It was good. I mean, I feel like we give our O-line a chance when we under center because they coming off the ball physical, so it give us running backs a chance too.
How much have you run out of those formations, before in your career? Because it's not super in vogue in football these days.
Early, like high school, we ran gun a lot, spread. So, under the center, it's kind of new to me, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Well, what do you have to do differently when you are under center as running backs? Is it sort of the same mentality, or what sort of changes when you guys go under center?
It's pretty much the same, but you just got to get downhill faster.
2 early turnovers, one in the first half, one second half, force y'all play from behind as an offense. How does that change what y'all have to do offensively when those types of things occur?
When turnovers happen, I mean, we kind of got to go away from the run and try to pass it a little bit more. So hopefully we could have got it done more, but
Your snap count has increased throughout this entire season. Obviously, you're playing against a bunch of upperclassmen this year. Talk about the journey to where you are now, where you're getting the bulk of the carries. You had 80 yards today. Talk about your season as a whole and how much you've learned in this process.
The season been going good. I mean, I got hurt Ole Miss game, so I was pretty much rehabbing and treatment for 4 weeks. So I'm kind of just now coming back, trying to get the feel of things.
Shaquille, you've got one more game left with this rushing backfield. What has it been like playing with those guys?
In the room, it's been great. I mean, we all coach each other, and we all it's like we a bond, like we're a brotherhood. So nobody not gonna hate on each other. We just gonna cheer each other on.
Sort of the same question I ended with for Anthony. One more game left. Obviously, a season where people are starting to look towards the future a little bit. What do y'all hope you get out of this last game as a program heading into next year?
We're trying to get the W. I mean, if we get this win, I think it will shoot us up for success for the next season.
You had 5 receptions on the game. I know Terry had a couple catches too. As the running backs have gotten more involved in the passing game, what do you feel like has led to that? And is that something you've practiced all throughout the season and really focused on catching the ball?
Yeah, we have. I mean, I feel like a lot of defenses don't really cover the backfield. So I feel like that's where they give us a chance when we out in the backfield. They can give us the ball so we get easy yards. Thank y'all.
Holden, obviously, emotional day for you, senior day, last home game here at Middle Tennessee. What has being a part of this program, through 2 coaches, through all the changes, meant to you?
Yeah. I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. Coming from the place that I was at and coming here is kind of like a new beginning for me. Really got the chance to kind of just restart. Kind of felt like a freshman going in again, kind of new slate and everything. And I've really enjoyed it. Last year, made a lot of friends, feel really close with a lot of the guys here. And then obviously this year, new staff and stuff like that. Kind of changed our offense a little bit, get a little bit more tight end play in there, not as much split out, which I've enjoyed that too. Like I said earlier in interviews at the start of the season, whether it's run game, pass game, whatever I got to do to help win, that's what I want to do. But I've enjoyed it.
Obviously, being an in-state player coming back from school in Florida to play in-state, what does that mean for you? Having your family presumably being here a little bit more often, and just having more connections maybe around the program, just from your high school days.
Yeah, it's been special. Being all the way down in Tampa is kind of hard to get family out there, and of course, going out there as a freshman, everybody's new. You don't really know anybody out there. Coming here is a lot easier. Being able to have them close, they've been in almost every single game. Kind of makes me go on the field feeling like I have something to play for. Someone's watching, stuff like that. So it's definitely been special.
And just a little bit, you obviously went under center a lot more, these past couple of games. What do you think sort of sparked that in practice where you guys built some confidence in that part of sort of the offensive playbook?
Our biggest thing was just wanting to get our run game and like put a stamp on it. Like we got some games where it's like first quarter run it down their throat, and second quarter it's like we lose it. Third, like it's just been inconsistent. So here the last few weeks we've wanted to stamp our run game and under center, getting our backs running downhill, letting our line come off, fire off the ball, tight ends included and stuff. And it seems we've put up some yards in the run game as well.
Well, it opens up opportunities for you as well, like the touchdown today. Walk us through that play and sort of how that play action set you up well.
Yeah. I believe that drive we ran almost from the 50 all the way down there. So we just keep stacking runs. So play action, it opens it up, and that's kind of what you want to use your run game for. Your run game opens up your pass game. So we just had an action where it was like looks like run, play action, slip out, and they dropped into coverage. And just easy touchdown.
Thanks, Walt.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.